Sorry, folks, you know that sometimes I cough because of my asthma. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat Lidorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et ha'aretz uvayom hashvi Shabbat v'yin nafash uvayom hashvi Shabbat v'yin nafash. Page 65 in the middle of the page. Shabbat has kept us alive. A Jew who feels a real tie with the life of our people throughout the generations will find it utterly impossible to think of the existence of the Jew without the Shabbat. One can say without exaggeration that more than the Jew has kept the Shabbat has kept the Jew. Achad ha'am. Now normally we would do the Chatzi Kaddish, which we will not do because we do not have a minyan. And we will be doing the Amida silently together. We will start on page 69. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagite Gilatecha. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagite Gilatecha. O God, open up my lips as I declare thy praise. O God, open up my lips as I declare thy praise. Adonai, Sefatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagite Gilatecha. We will now continue silently from page 69 to page 74. Take this as a time for some private meditation of your own heart, and or you can read in the book or use the book later on to read all of the words. But this is a time for your own spiritual renewal. We will continue now on 74 with Shalom Rav. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha v'al kol yoshvei tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam ki ata hu melech adon lecha shalom ki ata hu Adon, lecha shalom, shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, v'al kol yoshvei tevel. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam, v'tovenecha levarech et amcha Yisrael, b'chol leid u'b'chol sha'at. Bishlomecha, Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, v'al kol yoshvei tevel. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha, tasim leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarach et amo Yisrael. Shalom. Amen. We turn to page 80. The heavens and the earth and all within them were finished. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzvam vayechul Elohim vayom hashvi melabtu asher asa vayishbut vayom hashvi mikol melabtu asher asa vayevarach Elohim et yom hashvi vayakadesh oto kivo Shabbat mikol melabto kivo Shabbat mikol melabto asher bara Elohim asher bara Elohim la'asot. And now we will move on. We won't be able to do the Chatzi Kaddish. We will move on now to the Kiddush on page 90. So if you have something to drink, let's hope you can join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei b'riah gafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodshu b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidashta mikamim v'shabbat kodshecha b'ahava u'v'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabat. Amen. L'chaim. Now, on. We will go to the back of our books. Most of them have a copy of the Misha Beirach. And as I don't have a Misha Beirach list, at this time we sing the first half of it, and then you can say out loud or in your hearts the people you want us praying for. And I'll say a few prayers, and then we'll sing the second part. Misha Beirach Avotenu Mikor Abracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We pray for all residents here at the Towers who are ill. And we pray for Bertha, and we pray for anybody in our community and anybody throughout the country who is suffering from COVID. We pray for their recovery, and we pray for those who have survived but are dealing with the after effects. We pray more strongly than ever for the healing of our country. We have a sickness in our country in more ways than one, and it's time for healing and for people to come together and become one people again. We pray for the healing of the world, and we pray for the healing of Israel.
We pray for Roz Littman, Rabbi Marshall Press. And now a few minutes for you to say your own Mishaberachs.
Mishaberach imotenu mikor bracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn now to page 118. If people want to rise, that's fine. If not, let your voices rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon ha'kol, la'tei gedula le'otzeh b'reshit, shelo asan k'boyei ha'ratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamot, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chohamonon, v'anachnu kore'im u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yosed haaretz u'moshav yakara b'shamayim ima'al u'shchinatu zot b'gavhei meramim u'Eloheinu ein od emet malkeinu efesu lato ka'katuv b'torato v'yadata yom ashevota elevavacha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim imal v'al haaretz mitachat ein od. Page 120. And it has been foretold by our prophets of old, all people and all nations shall be one, and God's name is one. V'nemar v'hayadonai l'melech al haaretz bayom hahu Yadonai echad u'shemahu echad u'shemo echad. May the memories which we cherish
And lovingly now recall, inspire us so to live that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those who we shall leave behind. We turn now to page 1. Actually we can't say the Mourner's Kaddish, but we can take a few minutes and I'll do a little bit longer reading and take time to think about those who have passed and who are in our hearts. I know that Judy is saying Kaddish for her mother, Lillian Cohen, and all those who are saying Kaddish for past ones. Take a moment to just keep them in your heart. Eternal God, who sends consolation to all sorrowing hearts, we turn to you for solace in our trying hour. Though bowed in grief at the passing of our loved ones, we affirm our faith in you. Help us, O Lord, to rise above our sorrow and to face the trials of life with courage. Give us insight in our time of grief, so that the depths of our own suffering may come a deepened sympathy for all who are bereaved. May we feel the heartbreak of others and find our strength in helping them. May we bear our sorrow with trustful hearts and knowing you are near. May we not despair. With faith in your sustaining love, those who mourn now rise to sanctify in your name. We can rise if you want for a few moments, but we will not be able to do the Mourner's Kaddish. Again, that is a prayer we do with community. And we are all with you, all who are in mourning. May their souls be bound up in the bonds of life and their memories be for a blessing. Okay, before the final hymn, just a few words about this week's Torah portion. And I hope we can find some solace in this week's Torah portion to help us through the difficulties and the outrage and the assault on our country this week. Today's Torah portion, this week's Torah portion, is Shmot. It lists the names of all the people who came down to Egypt with Jacob and Joseph and their families. And it states in the beginning that they multiplied. With the last parsha, Jacob and Joseph died, and then we start many, many years later. All of Joseph's family had died, but the Israelites have grown and expanded and become wealthy and done well. And then the next paragraph tells us, and a Pharaoh was born who did not know Joseph. So we all know the story that the Egyptians were afraid of the Jews and enslaved them. And when it became, even enslaving them, didn't destroy them, they decided that they would destroy all the sons that were born. And we had the brave Shifra and Puah, who were the first instance of defying the rulers for the sake of justice. And they said no, and they didn't kill them. So we know the story. We know the story that Abraham, that Moshe was saved, that his mother had the courage to let him be born and to hide him and then put him in the basket, and he was found by the daughter of Pharaoh. His sister Miriam followed it and also had the courage to tell her, let's bring an Israelite woman to feed him. So Moshe grows up. He still knows that he's a Jew, he's an Israelite, and he is a man full of passion and rightness, and he sees a slave owner, a slave master, attacking a Jew, and he kills him. And he stops it. This is the man full of passion, and he stopped it. And a few days later, he sees two Jews fighting, and he tries to stop them. Why? Why are you doing this? And they say, what are you talking to us? You killed the Egyptian. Everyone knows. Moshe runs away. He's afraid, and he runs into the hills and meets the Midianite, the priest, and his daughter. He marries. He married Zipporah, and he's out wandering with the flocks. And the very famous story of the burning bush happens. There's Moshe seeing this little small bush. They think maybe it was some kind of a raspberry bush, and it's burning. And he's amazed. It's not consumed. It's burning with fire, and yet the bush is alive. And he wants to get closer. What's going on? And God calls to him. He says, Moshe, Moshe. And Moshe says, Hineni, here I am. And at this point, God tells him, he calls him and he tells him he's heard the crying of the people of Israel, the Israelites, and he tells Moshe he is going to be the one to save them. And 3 times Moshe kept saying, no, I can't do it. Who am I? They won't believe me. Who am I going to tell you are? And there's a complicated story with all of that. And the 3rd time he is convinced to go down. I was studying this week with Rabbi Mendy Hecht from the Orchard Street Shul, and the interpretation of this bush and the message for Moshe was a powerful one for all Jews and for all people. And he states that this was telling us that no matter how much the world tried to consume us, how many fires we had, the hardships in Egypt, the Inquisition, the destruction of the temple, the Holocaust, we will survive. We will not be consumed by this fire. That we are strong, and even if we're in the middle of this burning bush, we will survive. And it's a message that we in this country can take to heart. That no matter what surrounds us and what strife is going on and the tearing apart and the fire that's going on in our country, we as a people, as Americans of all kinds, of all religions, all backgrounds, all educations, we have the strength to survive this fire. But this parsha also spoke to me in a different way, because I think there was an individual message for Moshe. Moshe was a fiery man of passion, of a sense of rightness, and I think God knew, even he wanted this man of passion to lead the people out of Egypt. He also knew that the passion that you can have can consume you. You can let the passion overtake your sense of right, your sense of reason, and it was a concern that maybe Moshe would do that. And that may be why God was so hard on him when Moshe did make mistakes. Moshe, he was so upset at what the people did when they made the golden calf that he destroyed the first set of tablets. When God spoke to Moshe to tell him to speak to the rock so that the rock would bring water, when the people were doubting, instead of speaking, he hid it because he was so mad at the people. Moshe tended to get wrapped up in the fire, and this is something that God was concerned about. So I think the message to us also is that our passion is very important and our sense of rightness is important, but we should not let us lose sight of reason and justice and the best way to allow our passions to make change into the world. So I wish you all a peaceful Shabbat, and I wish you comfort in all that we're going through. Now, since we usually, the Shabbat of New Year's, sing Adon Olam with a familiar secular melody, and Adon Olam is sung with every melody, I will sing it with Old Lang Syne, because I was not with you for New Year's, and I wish you all a much better secular New Year. I wish you health and begin to come out and open up into the world. Page 128. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefsa Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'yacharei Ki Eklo Tago Levado Yimlok Nora V'hu Haya V'hu Hoveh V'hu Yeh B'tifara Kehu Echad V'yein Sheni Lecham Shilo Echad Bira B'li Reshit B'li Tatli B'lo Kol Zeham Yisrael V'hu Eli V'chai V'ali V'tzur Chedli V'yetzara V'hu Nisi Humanosli Menat Kosi V'yom Ekrar V'yado Avki Druchi V'yeti Shan V'yayra V'yim Ruchi V'yati Adon Ali V'lo Yira. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.